Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah. The Queen of Shade. Let me tell you something. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Salutations, Stufos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with a very special presentation, moving full speed ahead, getting to know some amazing people in the world, some mighty men of valor, some phenomenal women. It's just been quite an amazing journey. And I feel so blessed and privileged to be on this journey with my guests and with you watching, because we learn about ourselves and each other through the stories, testimonies, and lives of other people. Having said this, I have someone very special to bring to you today, all the way from St. Lucia. This man is a motivational speaker and a self-empowerment leader. So we are definitely in for a double dose of you can do anything you want to do today. He says, do you want to be better? I offer straightforward solutions. He says you can DM him. So I'm going to put all this information down in the private, underneath this video. And he also does private sessions and group sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to proudly introduce to you Mr. McNeil Griffith. Hi!
Hello there. How are you? Gorgeous.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I couldn't wait for this today. Like I said to you, I was doing some work beforehand. I was recording a new song, just the roughs, but it took me to another place. But this, I just can't wait for this. I'm so excited for this because you're new to me, Mr. McNeil Griffith.
Yes.
You're new to me. And we have a friend in common.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very beautiful friend in common. Famous friend in common, Mr. Vincent McDoon, by way of Paris, France. Vincent and I had a conversation on here, but we had been talking, oh my God, at least 2 years before we had our conversation. So we got to know each other, and he's seen me through a lot of things in my growth and my development as this internet star celebrity thing kind of unfolds and unfurls for me. He's kind of helped and given me guidance as to how to navigate and balance it. So I take what he says to me about what I'm doing and who I'm speaking to heart. And he said, listen, I have someone you need to speak to. He said, this person does the same thing for me that you do. It's like a breath of fresh air. I feel invigorated and rejuvenated when I speak to the both of you. So it only makes sense that I introduce you both and you guys sit down and have a conversation. So here we are.
Wow. Wow. And he does the same thing for me as well. And by the way, I've watched a few of your interviews and I'm like thinking, wow. And although we all have our own individualized expressions of self, I always say each human being is an expression of God individually, yet we hear each other's voice, we hear our own voices in each other. So the higher the consciousness goes, the brighter the voice becomes, the louder it becomes. So when I hear you speak, I'm like, is that me speaking? Like I'm listening to you and I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, but you know what? I love you saying that. And I love that you say that because there are a lot of thought leaders out here in the world. There are a lot of motivational speakers. There are a lot of self-empowerment coaches. And what I want everyone to understand is there's no competition. We're all saying the same thing. But we're saying it, like you just said, through our particular voice given to us by God, the divine, so it's not like, oh, go over here and you're going to get something different. No, baby, you're going to get my expression of the voice of God.
That's it.
Yes. So
it's like fabric. And I mean, look, if you look at the fashion houses, you have Bottega Veneta, you have Versace, you have Gucci, to name a few. And you know, they all produce from the same leathers and fabrics and stuff like that, just different creativity styles. You look at diamonds are put in, you get them in the big houses like Tiffany. And then, you know, I don't want to give too much highlight to companies here. The wheel doesn't have to be reinvented as well. It's all the different brands use of vehicles, whether they be the best like Rolls Royce, or it's a simple car, is the wheel. So we're taking the extracts of nature, which is God within mankind. And we're coming, I like to coin my own words. We're audifying it. We're putting it out there to present the message of self. That's what it is.
You know what? You're making me, I'm tearing up already because my grandma, I've been in this business for 20 years and it's been up and down and all over the place. And now I finally got the formula right. But my grandmommy, when I started this venture, she said to me, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
She told me that. She said, don't get caught up with people that want to say to you, oh, you have to do something brand new. She said that wheel is there for you to take and put your own spin on it, literally. And that's exactly what I've done. And watching your voice, first of all, your voice is empowering. Your voice is motivating. I have more of a sexy, seductive, listen to me kind of S-like sound, but you have this beautiful, clear consciousness to you. And it is just absolutely motivating. You don't even have to tell us you can do it. We hear your voice and we intrinsically, spiritually feel, I can do it.
Wow. I love to hear that, you know, because this is I think my superpower, you know, since I was a child. I think I'm wired for this. And since I was born, my fascinations was always around the voice. I mean, I love nature, I love beauty and all of that, but my voice has always been my thing. At school, talks too much, but they would put me on panels to represent the school. And I'm like, okay, and then talk too much, but yet they would use me. It's just interesting. Every environment I've been in, I was a shopping consultant. I have been a jewelry specialist. I've worked in so many different settings and capacities, but the voice has always been it. It has always been my power, you know?
Mine too. I was voted most talkative by my high school class. I didn't even know they knew me like that, but it was a unanimous vote. They were like, you talk a lot. But it's so funny because I went somewhere recently and I saw one of my classmates, but we had our mask on, so you couldn't really see who we were. I recognized her. It was the doctor's office. And I'm in there dropping off papers for my grandmother, and I had to speak to the receptionist.
Yeah.
And I said, I was asking for a copy through my mask. And my classmate turns around and goes, hi. And I said, hi. And she said, I didn't know who it was, but the moment you started speaking, I knew exactly who you were. And she came and gave me a hug. And, you know, I actually use that to my benefit. When I go out in public, I don't speak a lot. Because I don't go out like this. I'm a trans illusionist. I've been a cross-dresser since I was 8. So I don't go out like this. So when I go out, I've got my baseball cap on, my basketball shorts, my Nikes, my big shirt, and I'm just running to the store. So I've learned to just kind of navigate without speaking, because when I speak, like you said, people hear the voice of God. They hear that crystal clear sound in it, and they automatically know who I am.
And they turn, right away. Yeah. I lived in the United Arab Emirates before. And when I lived there, I remember I lived in Qatar before as well. So I love perfumes. My theme is look good. Well, one of my themes, I have I'm big on the variety of life, right? So look good, because once you feel good about yourself, or once you're connected to God within you, you will project God. So you automatically look good. Then you feel good and you smell good. You know, that's how I think. You know, you speak good as well. Well, let's amplify it with great. But anyway, I went into that perfume store, this one of those houses anyway. And I remember having a conversation with the young lady. Everywhere I go, I always deposit something beautiful. It just comes automatic. Yeah. And anyway, years later, I was in Abu Dhabi at the time and in a perfume store again. And she says, sir, I know you. Is your voice I heard? I'm like, after how many? I said, I remember you. That was like after 4 years. She remembered the voice.
Yes.
It's the voice.
Yes, it is. And you do. You have, and what I love is, like you said, it's the voice, but it's also what's coming out of that voice.
Mhm.
Because we've seen voices be used for the wrong things.
Mhm.
We've
Mhm.
seen voices shed or produce the wrong message.
Mhm.
So it is a blessing that we light workers is what I call it, light
Mhm.
workers and spirit workers of light, when we can have that message still be clean, still be
Mhm.
pure, still be positive. It doesn't mean we're perfect, you know,
Mhm.
but that message is still there. And like you said it, and I love how you said it, because a lot of people ask me about that as a shaman, because I'm a shaman. So they
Mhm.
ask me about my connection to God, and I tell them, baby, don't you know I wouldn't be able to do any of this without my direct connection to God, the divine. Like a lot of people miss that. I have a lot of young people that come to me and their questions are, how do I be famous? How do I become a celebrity? How do I, get the world behind me? How do I
Mhm.
get 50,000 followers? And I
Mhm.
always tell them the truth. I'm like, sweetie, I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know when it happened to me. The
Mhm.
point was, I spoke from my soul.
You live from the soul.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that drew everyone to me.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, because I have a nephew and he's a very talented musician and
Mhm.
writer and things like that. And he's only 21. And,
Mhm.
I'll be 40 in September. So I've been doing this a while. So
Mhm.
he'll come to me and he'll ask me, how do you do what you do? Or he'll ask his following, what do you want to see from me? And
Mhm.
I tell him all the time, don't do that.
Mhm.
Do that. Because if you get caught up in what they want to see, when they no longer want to see it, they're going to leave you alone.
Right.
So
Yes.
I tell him, be you, tap
Yeah.
into your divinity, because like you said, we all have it. Tap into your divinity and make the content you were designed to make. And then everything else will be.
Do it from the inside. That's the thing. You mentioned you're a shaman, and that's the thing. Part or the way you become a shaman. I intermix it. I say shaman and shaman. How you become a shaman is you don't get ordained by a human being,
Right.
by a higher priest or pastor or anything like that. Or I call myself his eminence. That comes from God directly.
Yes.
You go into the nature on your own, you go to the sea on your own, into the mountains, and that's where you hear your inner voice. God communicates with you from inside. So that's why I give people the same answers. How to do it is to go into your interior and trust yourself.
Yeah.
This is where God speaks. Now,
Yeah.
some people are more religiously inclined, so they say to me, but how can you say trust yourself? Don't you trust God? I said, I can only experience God from within myself. So I have to trust myself. That's God within me, the voice of the creator. It echoes from inside me.
Yes.
And to add to what you say to your cousin, I always tell people, you've got to be it to be it. You have to be it first to get there.
Yes. And I tell them, and I heard somebody recently say it, and they said it in a more eloquent way, but they said, baby, stop making content. Be the content. Be the content. And when they said it, I was like, oh, that's so wonderful, because that's for these last 6 years as the Queen of Shade, that's what I've been doing. I've been being the content. Before, I was trying to make the content. But something like you said, it was an explosion in here. And it just, I could cry. I can't even describe it. It's like earthquakes, lightning, thunder, and rain all at the same time. It was like the ground inside of me just started doing the most. And out of me, these displays of light and brilliance started to show. And I used to be a very, humble and very not even humble, because humble's a good thing. I used to be a very insecure, I will say, a very insecure person because of religion and because of what they were saying to me about me. You're gay, you're homosexual, you're going to burn in hell, you're this, you're that. And all of that junk was in me from about 10 years old till about 19. And the crazy thing is, at 19, when I had to be medically withdrawn from college because mental illness came into the play. It came into the picture and it required me to step away. But when I stepped away from the religion. And on that journey, I met God. I met God. When it makes me want to cry. Hold on. Let me not get emotional. Let me not get that emotional. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because it was such an outer body experience, but it was an inward body experience. He said, I made you. I love you.
I designed you.
Yes, you belong to me.
Mm.
You are mine. And I tell you, I have never felt that way. I have never had a human being, not even my boyfriend, not yet, ever made me feel like that. And that everything about me didn't have to be perfect, but that it was designed to be exactly what it is. And I would venture that you are this person too. If something stops working, I go back to the manufacturer.
That's right.
That's the first place I go. Okay, what's this? And religious people will say, oh, God doesn't speak all the time. You don't hear God all the time. And I'm like, I'm a shaman. I hear God every time I ask a question, every time I'm doing something.
You're supposed to.
Like I hear him now.
Ask questions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear him now. I'm like, so y'all are saying God don't speak all the time. There was a point in my career early, because I turn out so much content. So there was a point in my career early that I got afraid that I would run out of things to say. Because I was literally giving, just moving. And I felt that I would burn out. And I said to the divine, I said, God, I'm afraid of running out of things to say. And God spoke back to me. And this is what he said. He said, aren't you tapped into an infinite source? I said, yes.
Yes.
He said, so therefore that makes you, by being connected, tapped into an infinite source, it makes you infinite. And then he said, you will never run out of things to say.
Right.
I will always fill your heart with things to say.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I stopped worrying. And I got through year 1. I'm on year 6. I'm going into year 7. My anniversary is January 1st. And I'm going into year 7. And I've been talking.
That's right. You see, the thing is, you have to, people have to understand something. And I'm loving this. I'm absorbing what you're saying. I'm hearing, again, my voice. But I'm not hearing McNeil Griffith's voice. I'm hearing God's voice. You know what I mean? That deeper voice.
Yes.
Putting things into perspective. We have a similar journey. I didn't go into the mental health aspect of things, although we all have to deal with mental health. Yes. But what I mean is that I went through between the age of 10 and 19. This is first time I'm hearing somebody saying that. And I mean, I go through but I call it the passage. Yeah. It was the passage. I'm from a little island full of people who are very, I am the first to say it, small-minded, very programmed. That's all over the world, but on an island, it's more concentrated. And I'm the first to say it. But I am happy I went through all of that because that pressed me. Or should I say, well, it pressed me like a diamond to bring out the inner beauty. Or you could even say like, I studied gemology as well. And for a pearl to be born, there has to be an irritant entering an oyster for that to happen. So that the oyster starts to defend itself. And when it starts to defend itself with the secretion, that builds the pearl in the right conditions, timing and everything, that gives you something out at a value of 20,000, 40,000 US dollars. So that tells you a lot. So I had to come back to St. Lucia to elevate myself and realize that St. Lucia was the place that triggered the birth of my pearl. The pearl that I am. You know, I have so many ways of saying it. And then I had the same fears that you had. And fear is not a bad thing. Fear is actually the shadow of courage. Fear tells you, alert, alert, alert. Tune in to God. Courage. Go back to the core so you could have some courage. And that's how I see things. So I went through that passage and I had many storms in my life. Now, this morning on Instagram, that was my live. I said, the storm hasn't come to break you. It came to not all storms are meant to break you. Some of them come to clear your path. I had to face a hurricane in my life. That hurricane, I opened up myself vulnerably and I allowed that hurricane to make space to
Yeah.
clear the path for me to see who God made me and what is the higher version of myself that God made me. Now, going back to what you're saying, you're keeping in line with what you're saying, sorry, when you're suggesting that you are asking about things to run, you're running out of things. The evolution of the human being never ends until we close our eyes on this physical realm. But I'll tell you what, once you get to the top of one mountain, it's the bottom of the next. I heard another guy saying that once, Garen Jones.
Yes.
And when I heard him say that, I said, oh my God, I think that all the time. Like each time you climb to one level, you will go to the next and the next. It's like your next best project. So I love that. I mean, we're actually nothing, you know, what you're saying to me is from God. What I'm saying to you, we know it, you know.
Yes, we're sitting here like I'm trying not to run in 50 different directions right now. Because it's so powerful. Because this is the thing, and I teach my following that when you embrace God in your life, when you embrace you, you will be led to other people that share the same divinity. And that's the thing, because you know, you hear people say, I'm the only one in my family that thinks like this. I'm the only one in my circle that thinks like this. And then they look at me crazy when I say, baby, it's time to evaluate your circle and step away, because then you obviously don't have around you what you need. And I let people know there are a lot of divinity out there, people out there that are divine. You know, they may not be so glorified as you and I, you know, with these huge platforms, but they're in your everyday life. And I let them know, baby, you got to change who you're around. You got to change it. My boyfriend and I were talking about this the other night, and he said to me, I get kind of scared when you talk to me like this, because I told him, I said, you know, it's the price of the life that I live. I don't hang out a lot. I guard my energy. As a shaman, I am very, very vibrational. So I don't hang around a lot of people. My circle is small. It consists of my nephews, my grandmother, now my boyfriend, my therapist, my psychologist, and most of all, myself. It's a very small circle, because what people do not understand is, like with me moving the way that I do, people can get from me, they can elicit a spiritual response from me involuntarily. So it's kind of like, you know, the parable where Jesus is walking and the woman has the issue of blood and all these people are touching him, and then she touches him and he goes, wait, someone touched me.
Who touched me, right?
And the disciples say, Master, everyone's touching you. He said, no, someone touched me. It's kind of the same thing. I watch my energy levels, because when I'm out and about, I have to stay at a certain level. So I'm not out there to do, I love going places and not having to be the one, because then I can kind of bask in the entire existence and presence of God in my life and in the life of whoever I'm watching, whoever I'm with. I don't like to always be the speaker.
The speaker.
Yeah, I don't like it. No, but if you need me, I'll do it. But I go to a place. I do.
Because you need to be fed as well. You're also on the human level. And as a shaman, you're drawing from the infinite, and the infinite is replenishing you. But what you do naturally is you're generous and you're giving out. But because you're human as well, so you need to be, there's the law of reciprocity coming in play here. You need to receive as well. There has to be the regurgitation and the circulation rather, you know, so that you could get back what you're giving. You're human. You want to feel like, oh God, you want to hear somebody speak your language as well.
Yes.
You want to hear it. You want to receive, you know?
It's so crazy, because I always thought, like, I thought to myself that I would leave this earth without ever being partnered. I thought that would happen to me. My therapist used to ask me, because I've been celibate 10 years. You know, I needed an entire reset. And then I got that reset because I built my career. And that's what I did during that time. And then I thought I would leave this planet not really experiencing the kind of connection that can happen between two people, two human beings that meet, you know, of the flesh and then of the soul. And then they're this powerful entity together. Well, I met my boyfriend, my now boyfriend, I met him 20 years ago. I was 19, and we shared a very passionate embrace then. And then we recently in June got together, and he said to me, he said, I've loved you for 20 years.
Wow.
And I said to him, I've loved you for 20 years. And we both tried to go on and tried to, like, you know, try to make it work with other people. And I just couldn't get it right. I just couldn't get it right. And then we returned to each other. And the crazy thing about it is He's a shaman as well. And he's actually been in church ministry for 30 years.
30 years.
The reverend, and not just the reverend, he does what I do as far as give, speak to, the masses from the divine. Like it is so powerful, because I'm going to be very vulnerable here. The other night, and I love doing that with him, because people don't get to see that enough from me. I'm very strong, but I try to, in my stories, show my vulnerability. So we have a polyamorous relationship. So it could be multiple people in this relationship. I love him, he loves me, and he always says to me, I'm going to marry you. And I always say to him, I'm going to marry you. And the thing, will be the only two that are married. But part of me, after giving so much of myself to the world for so long, we got into our first kind of like scruffle the other night. And I said to him, I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to fight with you. I believe that we can have a relationship where no one argues and fights, because my attitude is, you choose to be with me. I choose to be with you. No one's making you stay. If you don't like it here, you are free to leave. So my thing is, I shouldn't argue with you or have to argue with you, because you choose to be here. And it is my duty to give you love and show you the best versions of myself, as well as my vulnerability. So I'm talking to him. I'm talking to him, and I said, he said to me, because I said to him, I said, I know we're polyamorous, but I monogamously want you. I said, I monogamously want you. And I started to cry, and he said to me, do you feel that you are expendable and forgettable? And I started to bawl, because somewhere in me, I've always felt that way. I felt that I was expendable. I felt that what I did, you could get anywhere. Go anywhere and get this. Yeah. And he said to me, so the love that I've had for you for 20 years, never been able to forget you, never been able to stop loving you. You're null and voiding. And I was like, and I went even more vulnerable, because I'm 40. He's 40. He'll be 46 in November. I'll be 40 in September. I was like, there's always going to be somebody younger. There's always going to be somebody prettier. There's always going to be somebody more intelligent, more in tune with the divine. Like I'm saying all these things. And he's like, but what does that have to do with us and what we're making? And it kind of brought me out. He said, we get to make this whatever we want it to be. And he said, I will never, ever throw you away. I will never, ever see you as expendable. And I just was like it was what I needed to hear. I'm
going to shift. My neighbors are on the tennis court, and now my neighbors there with his grandchildren on the tennis court, and now it's loud, and it's distracting me. So I'll have to close up my door, and maybe I might have to move to another side of the house, because my goodness, that's just, I didn't expect that.
It's okay.
I'll just sit right here, but we don't get disturbed. Oh my God.
Such a beautiful
I was trying to ignore it, but because the thing is, I don't like air conditioning, so I love natural air. I'm on the islands, and I love fresh air, So I have all the doors and windows open, so it could.
No, but I was gonna say, it's a beautiful home, though. We got a nice little view. It's a
thank you.
No, but I started to realize, like you said, our expressions of the divine are our expressions. Like I realized, okay, maybe I'm not expendable. Maybe I'm not giving myself the credit that I should be giving myself. Because all I've ever, and this is weird, because from religion, I've always been told, give the credit back to God, give the credit back to God, take none of it for yourself, take none of it for yourself. And the divine in my life is like, no, take credit. Take credit, a lot of credit, because, no, I was going to say, because, I can inspire you to do, but it's your hands, your hands. You did, you listened, you paid attention, you learned, you studied. So it helped me not to really to get over that and to start positive self-talk around that. And I said that because I want people to understand that we are these amazing people, but yet this human experience is something.
It's a contrast. You know, the thing I'm seeing here is, you know what came to my mind was you talking about being expendable and all of that, and about in conjunction with religion.
Yeah.
Religion teaches you to separate your religion. I call it organized religion, which I used to attack before because I went through the phase of religion and letting go and forgetting about it and realizing that my relationship with the divine never changed. The divine, I remember when I was 19, I left church, organized religion when I was 17 or 18, but I recall, around that age, between 17 to 19, I remember like the voice of God spoke to me. Well, God spoke with me and said, I never had a problem with you. And I heard it loud and clear. That was the beginning of my relationship with God. Because before I had religion guiding me. But while that was happening, in contrast, there was just, we feel, feelings are deeper than thoughts, and thoughts are much deeper than words. Well, the feeling comes from the divine. That's where you get to hear God, from the feeling nature. And I recall God is telling me, I have no problem with you. And I was in my room when I heard that. So I knew it was God. And then my relationship began to get stronger right there. So religion gives you a psychological interruption. It tells you God is outside of you. So which means God is in the sky. So that's why I tell a lot of organized religious people, well, the reason why, and they come to me, and I said, well, baby, your prayers aren't being answered. That's because you have a psychological block in your head that God is outside of you. So it takes eons to get to the answers. And some of you go from religion to the universe, but you all have the same concept in mind, like, I need to attract from outside. Everything is happening within. God is within you. So when you go from religion into relationship with the divine, you come to realize God is only good. God loves you. God loves the Queen of Shade. God loves you as you. And I think that's what so you made a transition in the sense that you had to face your contrast. The relationship was always there, but now you've gone from the whole passage of, me within me, with the voice of the world. And now you're beginning to hear the real voice of God that is telling you, baby, you're not expendable. You're not someone that can just be stretched everywhere. You're unique. I am divinely unique within yourself. I have projected myself as only you could be. And I want you to take credit for yourself and to stop thinking that everything has to be me and you have to keep yourself behind and give, but don't get. And you have to be humble in the sense of, settling for less than you truly deserve, and to always think you're not worthy. That's all religion. And I always say the people who teach that nonsense, they're teaching from the perspective of a psychological, spiritual, cemetery kind of things, outdated concepts to control people. But God didn't give us fear. God gave us life and power. So you are you, my boy. You're you. You're you.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? And I've told this story so many times. God outed me to me.
Wow.
What happened was I was in college and I was diagnosed bipolar 1, PTSD, and acute anxiety from my childhood, and it passed from my mother and father. They didn't raise me. My grandmother raised me along with other members of the family, but I inherited their mental illness. And back then it was unchecked. Now it's checked. So, but I remember going to Paris for the first time as a model, 22. And I remember getting up early in the morning because I always got up early in Paris. It was just such a beautiful place. And I felt like I had been there before. And the divine said to me, get up, baby, and go to the park up the street. So I got up, I got dressed. I went to the park and I sat down. And there were a lot of the French on the, sunbathing on their towels all over the park. So this was a crowded place. Isn't it funny when you see it in movies, when they want to tell you something really crazy and they don't want you to make a scene, they take you to a public place. Well, that didn't matter to me. So I sit down and God flat out said to me, you know that you're gay, right? And when I said, I know, I started to scream and cry and just out of myself. And the French jumped up off their towels and they're like, Madame, because I always look like this, Madame, are you all right? Are you all right? Are you all right? And I couldn't even answer them. I was uncontrollably screaming and crying. And then I did that for a couple of minutes. And then I finally collected myself. And I said, what am I going to do? And the divine said to me, we'll deal with it.
Wow.
But wait, here's the kick. Here's the kick. Here's the punch. I was 22. We've never spoken again about it again. He said, we'll deal with it. And we've never had a conversation about it. And I'll be 40 in September. And God has allowed me to realize if we have no conversation about it, there's nothing to speak about.
There's nothing to speak about. Wow. I find we have a lot of similarities. When I was 22, is when I went on my knees, I was praying. I don't pray on my knees anymore. I cut that out. I'm like, no.
My poor knees.
No, because I believe prayer is about surrendering to your higher self, submission to the infinite. And God doesn't want us to be like lowly creatures as they try to prescribe it, you know? So I recall going on my knees and I said, God, and you could tell it's the creator showing me myself as well.
Yeah.
I'm gay.
Yeah.
And that's when I just felt the burden rip out of my system.
Yeah.
And I never had to deal with that again. And that's when I became free. Because it wasn't a matter of accepting I'm gay. It's about accepting my fullness as an individual.
Yes.
So I never felt the need to advocate for anything, not just for gay, but black, white, this, that. I always believe I'm pro-being. I'm a being of light and I live in this body. And all the other dimensions of me work together for the purpose of bringing me, for me to enjoy my individuality. So at the end of the day, I said something on Instagram last week. I said, I'm not black. And people were like, I said, I'm diamond. I said the race was given to, it's people that call people black or white. There's no literally black or white human being or yellow. So I said, if you don't want to accept it, I have created my own race. I call myself diamond. Now, a diamond, a round brilliant diamond, the traditional round brilliant is 57, 58 facets. That includes the crown, the culet, the table, the girdle, all the other facets coming together. What diamonds do, they refract light. Yes. They absorb the light and they reflect it. Yes. I refract, all my facets come together in unison. My blackness, my gayness, my feminine side, my masculine side, my St. Lucianness, yes, my maleness, everything about me corresponds to refract the light of the creator, yeah, and to reflect it to the world. And that's what that's why I don't go by race. And I really stand on that. I tell people I'm not ashamed of being black or gay or St. Lucian or male or any of the definitions that have been given by society. That's okay. But I know who I am from within. And I choose to label it diamond. Yeah. I'm diamond. And as a diamond, I reflect God's light. So every day I fill up myself with God and I let God emanate from me, his God's glorious presence from me. And that's it. So the whole gay thing, I never used to fight for it. I tell people, all I believe you're supposed to do in life is to love yourself, love God within you. And when you do that, you respect yourself automatically. You love yourself. You approve of yourself. All of these other things, the enemies you wrestled with, you don't see them anymore. And all of a sudden, you say yes to yourself. Yes. Now that big yes to yourself becomes a no to anything that is not a vibratory match to you. That's it. That's how I think now. So I've gone through my past, I've gone through all my darkness and pain and bullshit and everything. And I've used that to bring out the best of myself. Well, the best of God in me. And that's what I see you've been doing.
You know what's so crazy? You're diamond, I'm Phoenix.
I heard you say that to someone. Who you said it to? A Phoenix. I love that.
My grandmommy's been calling me a Phoenix since I was a little boy. She said, you just brilliant. You just reborn, burst from the ashes. The flames don't hurt me.
Whatever life throws at you, you learn from it. You grow from it. That's great.
Yeah. So crazy that we out here creating races for people. Races, honey. Like seriously, it's utterly amazing to first of all to be speaking to you. Second of all, for this to be recorded. I'm like, that's why I just can't stop smiling, because I'm like, this is recorded. They're going to get this illumination, and they'll be able to see it over and over and over and over again until they believe. That's the thing. Because when they hear it, their inner soul will say there's something there. But it will take a while for it to root, you know, for it to get in there and for them to actually believe. But the more they keep watching, the more. So I wanted to talk about this. You travel the world.
Yes.
You have been everywhere.
Literally.
I was like, oh my God, you're living my next evolution. You're living my next evolution. I was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, like he has literally been everywhere. And what I love about you is you can tell from your soul and the work that you do that you like the finer things of life. And that is from a spiritual standpoint.
Yes. Yes.
That is from a, you know, a radiant standpoint, from a brilliant standpoint. And my thing is, I can only imagine, and see, that's what people don't get. If you are like this, I can't wait to see who you hang with. Because if you allow yourself to have an inner circle, those people, it must be, wait a minute, we must have Storm in that circle from X-Men. We must have, you know, like superheroes in that circle.
Yes.
Because
I keep myself only with people of the same frequency.
Yes.
I have stopped. I used to feel sorry for people. Sorry to interrupt you, huh?
No,
I used to feel sorry for people. Vincent said that to me. We were on a call once and he said, never feel sorry for a cockroach, because when you let the cockroach into your house with its sad story, it's going to infest your space. And then now you'll have a problem getting it out and its family. And then when you get that bitch out through the door, it will come in through the window. Oh my God, I actually use an explicit on your live. I hope it's okay for you.
It's good. It's fine. It's fine. No,
oh, yes.
Forget it. When you said it, I started smiling because that's Vincent.
Yeah, the thing is, you're supposed to surround yourself. I used to want to be everybody's friend. So I have a new thing I say now, and I say unapologetically, I speak my mind. And that's my original nature.
Yeah.
I love all of humanity, but I don't like everybody.
Right.
Okay. In my garden, we have fruit-bearing trees and we have lovely flower plants and stuff.
Yeah.
But then in our garden, when the gardener comes over, what they do, they uproot the weeds and they throw them away. So if you want to be living at the weed level, that's your business. But I'm not going to associate myself with anybody on a frequency that's going to pull me down. I will pull you up if you want to. And when my vibration tells me that one is ready to come up, I pull you up, but I will not let you pull me down, because I have learned through hardship and for trying to save the whole world with my savior complex. That's the dark side to our personality, our gift. We want to save everybody and make everyone a project. God spoke to me once and said, that's a project. I do what you mean by that. You heard me well. You're making that one a project.
Yeah.
With your savior complex. I say, why you took so long to tell me that, God? I'm 21 years plus. Now you're telling me that? I told you ever since. Don't try to save people. You just let the light emanate and let those who absorb it. But don't go try to fix people, McNeil. So in my friend circle, very small.
Yeah.
My friend circle is like that because I have many acquaintances, lots of leaves around me, lots of branches, but very few roots.
Yeah.
And they're not even on St. Lucia, they're abroad, you know? So I move around with a certain frequency of human beings.
Yeah.
And even when I go with acquaintances, they have to be at a certain level. Otherwise, I'm not there.
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
I'm not there.
I love that because that is so true. Because even as I was saying that to my boyfriend last night, he's like, you're scaring me. He said, you're scaring me. He was like, this conversation blows my mind because, you know, what we do and being such brilliant lights, I'm the same way. I don't play. Everybody around me signs a non-disclosure agreement. Like there's all of those things, and there's all of those things in place. You don't just get to come up in my life and bear witness to things and think you're gonna run away and take my stories. No. You have to sign non-disclosure agreements. The assistant, like there's a lot going on. And when I told him that, I said, my lawyer prepared me for notoriety, because he said to me, and I said to him, and my boyfriend was like, oh my God, like, what did I get myself into? And I said, this has nothing to do with our love, you know? But my lawyer said to me, now that you have risen, now that you are risen, you're going to always have a target on your back. He said, people will always, you will always be the goal. You will always be the one to aspire to. And therefore, you will always be the one that they want to take down. My lawyer taught me that. And that's why he said, when you move deliberately. If you have to hesitate, don't move. It's not time. And he said, you know, to really understand this lifestyle, because fame scares me. I've always been afraid of it. When I was younger, I wanted it. Because, and I can tell the truth, because it was a way for me to laugh in the faces of all of those people that hurt me and said that I was nothing and no one and would never be anything. Well, now that I'm turning 40, I don't feel that way. I want to be able to go places with my man and not be mobbed and not be asked questions and to work when I should be resting. So now I get it. So it's just like, I'm like, I had another, a celebrity psychic say to me, he was like, your fame scares you. And I'm just like, yeah, because it's not, I use my fame as a tool. That's what I do now. For me now, notoriety is a light. And I just shine my light on wonderful people. That's what this platform is. It is not me as an authority. It is me in conversation with people that I deem beautiful, people that I deem brilliant, people that I deem the light, you know, and then we sit here and we exchange through this screen. And then our watchers are like, oh my God, like, you know, oh my God, that's what it is to me. And then I turn my camera off and I crawl in bed and I call my boyfriend. Like that is my ritual. I don't go a lot of places because it's just, you're right. People, once they know that we have these gifts and great abilities, they always want to invite us to work, to fix things, to fix people, to pull people up. And it's like, and I decline all invitations. I decline all invitations because I'm not coming to do that. You know, people, you know, they have this thing, and I love how you said that. I'm pro being. That is so beautiful because that is on a higher frequency. That's a higher frequency, you know, but they have this thing here in America where they ask, you know, they don't do this to Caucasians because it's, you know, Caucasian society is expected to be self-sufficient. But for Blacks here, they always say to us, excuse me, what are you doing to give back to your community? What are you doing? And it's a question that makes me, excuse me, very upset. It makes me very upset because I notice they don't ask Caucasians this question. They ask Blacks this question. How are you? So by doing this, you are signaling that my community is in need.
Yes. And
how would my community be in that great a need that you know about it unless you put my community in need? So all of these thoughts are going through my head. So I hate that question. But when I get that question, I tell them, log on to thequeenofshade.com. I already gave back.
That's what I was thinking.
I already gave back.
By becoming the best of you, you're already giving a lot. Yeah.
I like, honestly, and I'm just going to say this publicly, I feel sorry. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing now because I feel sorry for the person that has the audacity to ask me that question aloud.
Wow.
It's not going to be pretty. I'm apologizing now because I have that in me. That wrath is there too. I feel sorry for that person because I'm going to go up one side and come down the other.
That's good. Yeah. You know when to wear your gown, your evening gown, and you know when to enter the fish market mode.
I love that. Into the fish market, honey. Yes.
You gotta do it sometimes.
Yep.
You're on the earth. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I feel like I do. I feel so sorry. I just because it annoys the God in me. That question. Yeah. It's like, what? But you know what? And I'm going to say this too.
Mhm.
Here in America, we have a lot of people that are famous for no reason.
Mhm.
And that's an issue. See,
Mhm.
I'm famous for a
A
reason.
reason,
A
yes.
reason. So,
Mhm.
of course, they ask that question to a lot of people that they don't feel give back and help and cultivate anything, or they did this to become famous, or they got with this person to become famous, or got under this person to become famous. So
Mhm.
I understand the question, but I'm not that person.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I demand the respect of my individuality.
I agree.
And that, yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that, even at home in the Caribbean, where, well, I'm from St. Lucia, and
Yeah.
I say Caribbean because I always believe
Yeah.
the islands should have been one country. That's just my
Yeah.
thing. I
Yeah.
don't know why we have this ancestral, when I say ancestral, tribal division. Like we have so many, it's one culture. Anyway, that's a subject by itself. But anyway, down in St. Lucia, they'll say, oh, it's nice that you're giving back. I say, I'm not giving back anything. I'm sharing. Because they
Yeah.
have that thing, they always like to say you're giving back. I don't believe in giving back. It's like you gave me something and I'm giving it back to you. No,
No.
I'm sharing what I've cultivated over the years. So I've done the work mentally, spiritually, and on the physical level
Yes.
to reap my harvest. So I'm
Yes.
sharing from my harvest to make it
Yes.
multiply and to help you,
Yes.
whilst you help me. There's
Yes.
reciprocity involved.
Yes.
I'm not giving you 100 and you give me nothing. You need to give me at least 5, at least something from your basket, because it's fetch. It's supposed to be trade, okay?
Yeah.
Now, another thing they try to do is like, they've tried, but I notice when you see you wear your crown of respect, people know the lines with you. They know their space and their place, but you have those audacious ones who try to push you.
Yeah.
Because you're an alpha male, you're a lion. They want to come at you. Those beta males and those stupid
Yes.
hyenas.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm not here to give back anything. I'm here to share.
Yeah.
Now I'm giving you a lot by me coming out from this that old fabric and creating individuality of myself, and have gone out there and done something great with with using my innate abilities. I have given something to the community by just being not a burden to the society.
Yes.
Okay, so don't because they always want to. But it's funny. The human beings are funny. You said something to the guy yesterday. The one you posted, Lennon, is it? You
Yes.
said that your grandmother told you about foolish people and the wise, and
Yes.
not many people are wise. A lot of human beings live in the foolish frequency, and that's a
Yes.
fact.
Yes.
And don't expect me to look up to you being foolish. I will look down on you.
Yes.
And not in a toxic way, because I'm still maintaining my positivity. But
Yeah.
I will not tolerate and accept your stupidity, your
Yeah.
foolishness, and say, no. You've been many rounds around the sun. You should
Yeah.
have done something with your life to create a better reality for yourself and to emanate that light to the world.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
All my family members who I am estranged from that watch me, you just heard that. You all are older than me. You should have done something to give back, to radiate, to become, to grow, to evolve. Not my problem. Because I'm estranged from a lot of my family. A lot.
So I've heard you I've listened to some of your videos. I heard you saying that. I'll tell you what, you haven't done anything wrong. You've done the right thing, because family is human.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned earlier on, you have the fruit-bearing trees and the weeds. Now, as human beings, as a tree has no rights. It doesn't have the power to change its consciousness. A rat cannot change its consciousness. A roach can't. But human beings, we can elevate ourselves on the consciousness level. So how do you do that? You draw in and you tune into the Almighty Creator who will guide you and radiate your energy. So if you don't want to do what it takes to get there, you can't hold me responsible for that. Now, you said you had to estrange yourself. The reason for that, look, you come around the world 20 times, 40 times, 50 times, 100 times around the sun. I mean, even the mastermind in the Bible talks about it. He said one guy was given 1 talent, another one, I think 5, another one 10. The ones with more, they multiplied it by 2. Yeah. And then the one with 1 said, oh, I was just holding on to what you gave me to give it back. Right. He was burnt. The mastermind was conveying a deep message here to humanity that you have no excuse. And I want to add something to what Jesus Christ said. You might tell me, well, I don't have anything. Well, I'll say, well, go borrow something from someone and multiply it and pay them back. Yeah. Do something with your life.
Yeah. No, I love how you said that, because that was the thing. I tell people all the time, I would not be sitting here right now if it wasn't for 40 years of my grandmother being a master's degree level teacher. She taught school and educator. And then when she retired, she had no idea she would be investing in me. But then the need came and she literally invested her entire retirement into my career, into my 6 figures, into what I do, which allowed me to really learn myself, love myself, go to therapy, take medication when needed, like all of these things, cultivate, grow into wearing wigs and dresses. Like it allowed me the time that I needed to grow my feathers. And my family got really upset with her for doing it because they felt like, oh, if he takes it all, there'll be nothing for us. But you just said something very, very powerful. I didn't take from my grandmother. I borrowed. I borrowed. I will be taking care of my grandmother for the rest of her life. She will always be with me. If I live in a castle, she lives in a castle. If I'm on the beach, she lives on the beach. That is first and foremost, because she is the only person in my life that ever said, here, here. And my thing is, but listen to this, she's not the only Black woman that's ever done that. Because ironically, me being gay, the only people that have ever really done something for me in my life that helped me get ahead were Black women. Black women. Men, it always came with condition. Well, do this for me, I'll do this for you. It always came like that. So then I'd have to smile and say, I respectfully decline. You see, with women, I didn't have to worry because they didn't want that from me. If they were given, they were genuinely given because they understood my situation. They understood what I was. Men, it tends to be a little more, men are very opportunistic. And it's not a bad thing because my grandmother taught me this the other day. She said, listen, you know, while you're up there worrying about whether the glass is half empty or the glass is half full, I took the opportunity and I drank it. So while you guys are worrying about whether it's half full or half empty, I drank the bitch. So that's kind of where I live too. But women have always been very, very powerful in my life. And get this, on my platform, and I can say this to you because on my platform, I showcase a lot of Black and brown men. I have so much love for my own. There are others, I love men of all kinds of colors and races and nationalities and creeds, but there's a specialness for my own because I understand the struggle. I understand what is expected of them. I understand them being fetishized and not being able to break that mold of the big Black dick. I can say that, it's my platform. And them being seen as only that and not being able to break that mold and get ahead and be respected for their talent, respected for their brilliance, respected for their inner beauty as well as their outer beauty. So I give a lot to them, but get it, Black men in my life have hurt me the most. Black men have bullied and abused me the most, but yet and still in my process, I needed to literally help my people. And when I say my people, I meant Black men. That was my thing. Like, because I look at some men and it's this thing where, you know, I'm 40 years old. I don't wear, when I'm out of this, I don't wear suits and ties, you know, like your corporate man would, you know, like your corporate man should. But that's a choice. That's not because I don't have access to that. I choose to like to just kind of relax because I got my career, you know. But at the same time, I notice other Black men in their 40s and their 50s and they dress like boys. They don't dress like men. And what's worse about it is the mentality. They have the mentality of boy and not the mentality of man. So that is my own. I've never said that like that before, but that is what I'm addressing. I need my men to understand you can dress however you want as long as there's a man in there.
The mind.
Yes.
I said something to a few ladies and they were talking about, and not to cut you, cross you, but to add to what you're saying. You said boys. I use dogs, meaning in a figurative form. You know, like I'm making fun of it, you know, because in St. Lucia, we have this thing we say, chien la rue, like in French, les chiens la rue. So, okay, dogs by the road. So we have those blocks and stuff, you know, where guys hang out, you know, and or not just guys, people in general sit by the road and, you know, and it's an old part of the culture. And So Vincent says it as well. Bolawi. Bolawi means it's by the road. So the Shelawi is like the mutts, the mongrels. They sit in the corner and they're up to nothing.
Yes.
Then you have the pedigree. But I'm not literally referring to a dog. I make it blend into an energy thing. So I'm like, you have dog energy and you have God energy. So I say a lot of the men, they look like gods, but they're dogs.
Exactly. And get it. That's why I was emotional when we started this, because I was writing a new song about Black men being more godlike than they think that they are. So I love how we just flow. Like it just
the energy.
Yeah, like it's like I say it, then you take it, then you take it, then I take it, then you take it, then I take it. It's kind of funny because we are having this conversation, but we're really helping everybody watching. Like this conversation is really just we're getting to know each other, but this conversation is definitely for the people watching.
Yes, so because people are listening and learning as well.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You have something up that I love that you say you help about the Black man, and you want them to see that they're gods.
Yes,
it's time for our men.
Yes,
to start taking back that role, that power, and realize it starts with yourself.
Yeah.
It starts with yourself, and stop making excuses from history. History had its impact, but remember to start to take the responsibility for yourself, because today you have access to education. You don't even need to have the Harvard degree. You could go on YouTube, on Audible, you could go anywhere and do that for yourself. You build yourself into a man. Like you said, don't just look like a boy. If you want to dress like a boy, my father dresses like a boy. My father thinks he's young. I say, I call my dad little brother. I say, little brother, but that man in hair is a man. He's a man.
Yeah.
And a man is not about the bravado and all this.
No.
My same dad as well. I remember years ago, some men said, your son, he's like, and my father said, you know what? He's more man than 94% of y'all. My father said that about his son.
Yes.
He's more man. Because being a man is about an individual who knows how to take responsibility for himself. Mind mastery. Take charge of situations. If you go out there and you make children, if the girls, you want to have your itch and you pee, you get into a bitch and you end up giving birth to a child, take care of that child. Give yourself some good karma. Take care of yourself. Go out there and work for what you want. Stop following what other people are doing. Master your leadership and do things. And a lot of Black men need that. I hear you talking a lot about Black men on your different interviews. And I love that. You're raising awareness. You as a man, look at what you're doing. And they might see it as, but he's dressed. No, but look, you're a real man. You have a lot of responsibility, and you're raising awareness, and you're doing so much to create change, not just for yourself and for the world, but for the Black community, because you're addressing everyone in general. So these men have to, in St. Lucia, we say they need to buck up the game.
My nephew said to me, he said, Unc, he said, because they call me, my name is Bjorn. So he says, Uncle BJ, he says, I never thought I'd learn how to be a man from a gay man.
Thank you.
But get this, I remember when I was 12 and a prophetess came to church, and she took me by the hand and she said to me, the hand of God is on your life. And then she said to me,
I was going to put some light so I could shine.
She said, I was only 12. And she said, the spirit of a man lives inside of you. And she looked at my parents, which were my grandmother and my uncle, and she said, he's not a boy. And I was only 12. She said, he's not a boy. So I have never thought, acted, felt like a boy. I have only ever felt like the man that I knew I was inside. And people see this. And I remember because I have friends from all different walks of life. So I had a friend who was a dominatrix. So her speciality was in understanding men, and their fetishes and what they want. And she looked at me, because we were discussing one day, and she looked at me and she says, you're so kind. And that's how she started it before she hit me with the 2 Ps. So she goes, you're so kind. And I said, thank you. She said, but I want people to understand there's not a submissive bone in your body. You smile, you're kind. She said, but the fool is the one to think that there's a submissive bone in your body. Since I was 12 years old, I've never taken anything lying down. I'm just that way. I'm that way. If it pricks who I am, I say something. There were times where I'd be walking down the street with my my girlfriends, and I work out a lot. I've gotten smaller now because of the pandemic, but I used to work out a lot, and I was very ripped and and I'm gonna get back to that. But like I would go out with my girlfriends, and I'd have on my shorts and my shirt, and you'd see my skin, and you know, good skin, it glistens in the sunlight and things like that. And I'd walk past men. I'm 5'11". I'd walk past men that were 6'2", 6'3", standing on the corner, and they would start throwing homophobic slurs at me. And the thing about my girlfriends is they know, see, my girlfriends, I attract women that know I'm a man, and they keep my secret, because I'm like, shh, you know, shh, let them think whatever they want to think. But they know there's a man in there, and sometimes he can be hot-headed. So I turn around and they're throwing slurs at me. And the only reason why I got upset was because I had a woman with me. And I did not want that woman to feel unsafe. I don't, when I'm with women, I want them to understand that they're safe in my presence. I'm not going to run away and leave you. My grandmother is 75 years old. Since I was 6, I open every door for her. And I close every door once she's securely inside.
Wow.
That's who I am. So my friend, her name was Dominique, she looks at me and she's like, BJ, just keep walking. Because she knew, she saw it. She's like, BJ, just keep walking, please, let's just keep walking. And I'm like, and when I heard the fear in her voice, I spun around. And she said, no, no, please. I said, you stay here. I walked back up the block. All of them looking at me. And that's the thing, like you said, if you're not a man and you're approached like a man, you're going to cower like a dog. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how muscular you are. In the presence of a man, you will submit. So I walked back to them and I said, listen here. Each one of you have something to say to me. You take your turn and you say it to me. I said, but after I whoop your ass on this street, you're all gonna go to jail because this is gay bashing and it's illegal in this state. And one of the guys said, see, I told y'all to leave him alone. I told y'all about gay bashing. I told y'all was wrong. And then I said, gentlemen, have a great day. Spun around and walked back down to where I had safely placed her and said, let's go. And I'll never forget, she smiled at me and she was like, I can't stand your ass. I don't take things lying down, especially when there are women involved. I don't have to be a heterosexual man to protect my women.
Yes. You're
like,
a
are you
man.
crazy? Like, are you crazy? Every trick I've ever learned about beauty and care, I took from watching my grandmother as a little child of 7. Because my grandmother's big into fragrances too. She likes Estee Lauder and, you know, all those types, and Red Door. So we going back, you know?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, she like those. So I would sit there, and before, like, she didn't dress like any woman in class, like, you know, a school teacher. She'd sit there in her girdle. I'll never forget her girdle and her stockings. And she'd pat herself with the Estee Lauder powders, and then the perfumes behind the ear, and just all kinds of things. She showed me not just what a woman was, but what a lady was. What a high classy lady. Like, I got that class and sophistication from watching her. And like, even when I do my makeup, little things that I'll do, I have flashbacks of even my mother putting on her makeup. And it empowers me, because to me, it's a skill, you know, it's something I've acquired, but like, I pay homage to where I saw it. It matters so much to me. And my mother and my grandmother will tell you. My grandmother said this yesterday to me, just yesterday. She said, BJ, you know, I got married at 17. Excuse me, my nose is a little, my allergies.
That's okay. It's your show.
Right? My allergies. But she said, I got married at 17. Before I knew it, I was 25, 5 babies. Your grandfather, he was in the streets. He went to Vietnam, came back crazier, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But she said to me, now, mind you, she has a son that's still living, one passed. She has 3 daughters still alive. She has a bunch of grandbabies. I'm the oldest grandbaby. And then she has a bunch of great grandbabies. She looked me in my face yesterday morning and she said to me, BJ, you are the only man whom has ever shown me real love and what it looks like. Even when she was doing so much for me, I cook her meals. I make sure she eats. I make sure she has what she needs. I go downstairs. I lock my door. I walk my house at night. I make sure it's secure, because anybody coming through this window or this door unannounced, you're not going to have a chance to get to my grandmother. Back in March, I fought my brother. I let my brother stay with me for a year. He's schizophrenic. And his idea was, he thought that he was going to harm my grandmother. And I had to whoop that tail in my bathroom up here. And I had some scars. They're healed now. But the ass whooping I gave him, along with the 3-year restraining order, yeah, no one gets to my women in my life. And my thing is, the reason why I went that way is because I want people to understand, when you are a being such of like us, of the divine, we are fathers. We are fathers and mothers, because I'm two-spirited, to many nations. To many nations. People can't understand why I have so many men that come to me. Well, he's effeminate and he's not masculine. They don't come to me. Well, some of them do, and I have to let them down gently. But some of them come to me for that. But I'm like, no, baby, no, baby, no. Yes. I'm old and gray. You don't want this. But for the most part, they're coming to me to learn, because I'm the only father in their life. I'm the only one teaching them about entrepreneurship. I'm the only one teaching them. This is what you do. This is who you are by right. You weren't always, our ancestors weren't always slaves. Understand that. Thank you. Yeah, understand that. Get that. Know that. It's crazy.
I love this. You know, I'm hearing, oh my God, you're such a, I won't even contain you. I don't even describe you as you're a ball of fire. I'll be like, I want to say you're an ocean of lavish abundance, man. I mean, I'm just looking for a word to describe you. You know, and you know, it resonates. Yeah. I feel and I hear myself.
Yeah.
And I love that you expounded a lot on your manhood.
Yes.
Because you're a real man. I feel I didn't have to. What I see here is I could feel.
Yes.
I could feel the energy inside there. A powerful man at that. When I watched your first video, I said, this one is powerful. Power knows power.
Yeah.
I recognize a powerful man. And I'm glad to hear you say you're two-spirited.
Yeah.
And you shared your experience about dealing with those fellas on the block. Because at the end of the day, I've had the similar situations too. Yeah. And everybody just, and you could see the same dog energy coming. All these dogs barking. And then everybody backs down when that.
Because you stand there, because you're a man. You stand there and they can't do anything with that. They can't do anything with that. They've never experienced it. They've never been taught it. They've never had it in their homes. And then you come and it's like, and get it. After that, I walk down the block. How you doing? Hi, how are you?
Because it's love.
Yeah.
It's about love. You don't hate them.
No.
And the thing is, what happens is, it's all there. I came to realize that early in life, it's weak. It takes a weak human being to attack somebody for no reason. You have to be living at the savage level still to want to. So when I was younger, I would react, but now I respond with power. Yeah. And you know, I can't get that again anyway. But I'm just saying, it takes a powerful person to realize that you're a weak person for you to be spewing out insults and for you to waste your time to bring somebody down and throw shade on them and make them feel small. Like, what do you get out of that? If you're powerful and you're on your journey and you're elevating, you don't have time. Yeah. You really don't have time. But I love how you really, there's the divine in you standing up for you, within you. Yeah. And they recognize it. It's all about energy. It's all about the rich, powerful energy that radiates from your being.
because you know what it is? When I stepped into my divinity, I stepped into who I was. I stepped into who I would be from that day to the day I closed my eyes.
Yes.
And you know what's so funny? I hide my masculinity. We got to talking and it came out, but like I hide it because people, this is the thing. See, when you're in show business, because when you're in show business, you don't want to scare your audience. You don't want them to realize that the show is actually not really a show. You're really that powerful, that it's not just smoke and mirrors. You really are that divine. So I try to woo them, and I smile and I play with my hair, and I allow more of the femininity to be seen until it's time for me to handle my responsibilities.
Yes.
Then we switch. And then they're like, and I'm like, now let's move.
Wow.
And that's the thing. Even when my grandmother doesn't go anywhere without me because she knows my energy shifts. Yeah. She had literally before COVID, my grandmother, it's going on year 2.5. My grandmother has not been into a single store since they first announced 2 years ago that COVID was on the rise. She drives, I leave her in the car, leave the air conditioner on, and I go get everything from every store that she wants. She is not allowed to go in a store, especially at her age. I don't want her walking around no store. You tell me, I'll go get it.
Yeah.
That's how I am. And then I come here and
and you doll up.
Yeah.
But I spoiled it from the beginning. I said to myself, there's something different. I saw that masculine energy just come out. I just didn't say it. I'm like, wow. I
like to protect women, especially Black women.
But it's beautiful.
I love it.
That's powerful.
I do. I love to. I don't know why. It's my thing. I love to protect women, especially Black women. I do. It's just something like it is. It's kind of like a sport to me because it really is that fulfilling to be there. Put them in the car. Make sure the door is locked. Then you walk around the car. Then when you get out and you make sure I open the door for my grandmother, I check and make sure the house is the way we left it. Then I let her go in. Like that is all to me. It's just, I never need to have somebody say you're a man. I know.
Yeah.
I know. And it's like, yeah, and yes, I was a fashion model, and yes, I have this face, and yes, I have this voice. What are these? These are called gifts. These are called talents. This is what it looks like. These are gifts and talents. They help me to live my life. But at the end of the day, like my neighbor, one of my best friends, closest and dearest friends since he's lived here. He has 3 babies, girlfriend, multiple girlfriends, but he's a very handsome Black man. And I'm going to use this word because he uses this word, not that I agree with it, but he says to me all like, he'll say to different people, he'll be like, he's like, don't let that dress fool you. BJ is a real nigga. And I'll be like, his name is Jamar. I'll be like, Jamar, stop saying that. He's like, no, because it's true.
Yeah.
He be like that. He be like, no. Like when he heard what happened with my brother and that we were fighting, he was like, see, I told you.
Wow.
I was defending my grandmother.
Yeah.
I was defending my grandmother. And
the facet of yourself. That's what it is. Your facets.
But you know what it is too? I use it in my work because I'm protecting these young men. I'm bringing these men out here. People are seeing them, and I am that connection to them. I am their point of reference and point of contact. If they have questions, many of them come to me. Queen, how can I do this? Queen, how can I do that? Queen, like I'm actually everyone I brought to this camera, I am invested in their life. They have my number. I tell them, darling, I work too much. Don't call me. Text me so I can see it and text you back. But yeah, I have a point of reference with every single man. Every single man. It's just, because that is the daddy in me.
Yes.
And it is a fool to think, oh, that's the mommy in you. Oh, okay. And that's why I leave it alone. Oh, okay.
So I'll make my confession. The reason why I call myself His Eminence, because I have told myself, this is the Father in you. But my close friends know it. They all know. People say, you call yourself His Eminence.
Yes.
And my friends say, because they know it's the Father in me. I love that. Is the father.
We're
The father.
dads. We are dads. We are dads. A dad teaches his sons how to be men.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. Women are picking up as well, but we have to. People, and that's the thing. People think, oh, you're motivating. No. There's a reason I've targeted us. Because, you know, for whatever reason, society decides to remove the dad-aged men, the men that are dads from our society, incarcerate them, do whatever, you know? So we need, you know, replacements. And why not the sage? Why not the shaman? The shaman, the shaman teaches the entire village. The entire village. So I'm just living in what I live and move and breathe and have my being. The shaman teaches everybody. The shaman, they teach everybody. I sit under the tree with the bowl, and you don't get this for free. You come and you fill my bowl with fruit. Then I tell you what the divine has to say to you through me. But you're going to put this fruit in this bowl. I like pineapples, grapes, cherries, pears. You're going to put that offering in that bowl.
And money.
Yes, and money. That's right. And for you, and jewels.
Oh, my God.
Gems.
A lot.
Yes.
I love them.
That's what my grandmother helped me to realize that. She said, baby, what you do is worth money. At first I couldn't see myself doing it for a living. I'm like, how can I make this into a living? And the divine walked me. And now I do.
Because you give value to people. You give a lot of value. Even this conversation is value to me. You've just strengthened, you know, you strengthened me. You know, and there are people who are afraid to say that. They say, oh, no, I know I'm powerful, but it takes a powerful person to empower another powerful person.
Yes.
You've empowered me more.
Listen, you've empowered me more. But you know what it is? It's the dance of the great gods. That's what it is. It's the dance of the great gods.
Yeah.
Because literally, people, oh, there's only one God. Then God made all of us. Whose image did he make us in? In his. So then what does that mean we are? And nobody
all gods.
They don't like to say it. They like to stop right there. What does that mean we are?
Gods.
And then they stop. Gods. Say that again. Gods.
Gods.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have enjoyed this so much.
Me too. This felt like a party. This feels like a party.
And I needed it. I confess, I needed it. I feel so good. You have strengthened, you have affirmed, you have empowered, you have cultivated, you have really reinforced. This conversation has been absolutely amazing. So here comes the part, and I know you're gonna go in because I know you was ready for this part. Give me 3 words that empower and inspire you.
Woo. 3 words that empower and inspire me. It came directly from God the Almighty to me about 7 or 8 years ago. Always, which is actually my message to the world.
Yes.
Always trust yourself.
Oh, wow.
Always. And if I could expound a little bit on it.
Yes, please do.
Always, meaning at all times.
Yes.
Trust. Trust is powerful. It means be vulnerable.
Yes.
Open up yourself to the hurricane.
Yes.
It's going to clear your pathway for greater good.
Yes.
That means plug into the source of all creation.
Yes.
Know that God does not sleep. God is in you, for you, not against you. So even when you trust and you think you're making a mistake, that's a learning curve. Yes. God takes care of God. Yes. And then I say yourself, meaning you could only experience that within yourself. Always trust yourself. You're never going to be wrong.
Wow. Amazing. An amazing highlight moment. So now tell everyone where they can find you, promote yourself. Tell them where they can find you online, where you're going to be next in the world while I sneeze.
That's blessings.
Thank you.
So Now, a little something I didn't tell you. You say you came to the, I have a selective side to me, selective amnesia. So I actually know that you asked that question in the end, and I didn't even think of it. So it's not like I was prepared for it. It's like, I was just, because I treat everything as new every time. Yeah. So anyway, where you could find me, I just started off in the social media scene, but it's relatively fresh. So Instagram, my name as it appears here, McNeil Griffith, all the letters together. It's the same on TikTok, and it's the same on Facebook with this, McNeil Griffith. That's it. And on YouTube, I have some videos there as well. So I'm working on the social media side of things. And you could find me there, and you could direct message me for your consultations, for a rampage of power, And I tell people all the time, what I do is, that's why I keep saying I'm blunt. I'm just like you. I have that smile and everything, but I don't. Can I use an F word on your platform?
Yes, please.
I don't fuck around.
Yes.
Come to me with
Nobody
the problem.
has time, right?
Yeah, you come to me. I am not going to sit in the problem with you. I will pull you up. Yeah. So I'm going to give you blunt answers so that you could take radical steps towards your evolution and your self-release, so that you could be who God designed you to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. Always trust yourself.
So much for being with us. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of motivational speaker and self-empowerment coach and leader, McNeil Griffith. Thank you so much for being with us. Say bye. Any last words that you want to say, and then don't go anywhere. And then I'll just,
live, just live and enjoy your journey. It's going to be okay. There's someone out there watching both of us. You're going to be okay. You will make it. You got this.
Yes.
You've come this far. Yeah. I didn't even cover the things I've been through on this video. Behind that face, there's a backstory.
Yeah.
Don't give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Oh, God. So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you make me take them off. I'm assuming first position. Gonna show you I'm a boss. I've been given 60 seconds just to put